Hi, I'm Rob and this is Gems of War. In this video I'm showing a couple more Kalika teams. Yesterday I showed off one team that I used with Kalika I made up and it was okay, but I didn't have much time, so I'm showing the other two teams I done with her today. The first team is a very similar team to the one I used yesterday, but the second team is much more exotic, a little bit far out there, but can work really well if a little bit of luck goes your way. So hang around to see the second team, or fast forward to it if you don't want to see the first one. Right, she's okay-ish. Her spell is pretty mediocre in a way. It deals 39 damage in my case to 4 random enemies, boosted by elemental stars. So it's not great, and there's absolutely zero chance of getting an extra turn from this. So you always give back the turn to the opponent. So how can we make the most of this? Well, the first team, which is the one very similar to yesterday's. Yesterday we were using this team here with Queen Beatrix and the Mirage Queen. Worked really well, but it wasn't particularly about Kalika because Queen Beatrix was doing the majority of the damage, backed up by the Mirage Queen when we get 4 matches to skulls. And then Kalika was just only being cast whenever we couldn't cast either of these two. So she's not really a main troop, she's more of a support troop. And yeah, not great. But the little twist on this team, you could throw in the Wild Queen instead, put her in place of Queen Beatrix, switch them two around. And then this works really well. The Wild Queen steals a bunch of attack from an enemy and gives it to the first ally, then creates a mix of 22 skulls and green gems. This works absolutely superbly with the Mirage Queen, because part of her spell is to convert all the green gems to doom skulls. So with a lot more green on the board once Wild Queen casts, that is a really good mix for this, and it works really well, as well as the Mirage Queen starting with 50% mana to all elemental allies, of which Wild Queen is. So, with Oshia's Tome here, that's going to be our main generator, and we've got the traits of Elemental Force there. The third one, a superb trait, Stun, Freeze, Burn, and Entangle a random enemy when matching 4 or more gems. And the idea will be, the Wild Queen does the majority of the damage, and will cast Kalika when the enemies are on lowish damage. She'll hopefully pick off any low health stragglers, and we'll take it from there. Right, I'll just show this one quickly. What's it on about? I don't care about that. So let's do a PvP. That is the more exotic team. I'll show that properly in a second. Just do this one for now. So yeah, she's definitely nothing special Mythic, but let's try and get her to work in a couple of teams so we can get our Oshia's Tome charged up quite quickly here. If we just get one more lot of blue or yellow, but we got the team switched around there, so we got to change it up now. We'll get the Wild Queen charged up. Take that because we get the green at the same time. It's not too bad, like, even though the first opponent isn't entangled right now. It is actually okay to cast the Wild Queen most times on the first opponent, because she'll reduce the attack down to a level where you're not going to suffer too much if you didn't get the extra turn out of it. We can take this. The Elemental Star there is going to be handy, but we've also got one up here, so we'll take the one at the top first, because quite often if you take one from the bottom, that can actually disrupt things at the top and spoil whatever you had going on at the top. Now we can either collect this, but there's no point because Wild Queen only needs 1 more mana, or we can change all these to Doom Skulls, which is a much better choice. So we'll do that with the Mirage Queen. That caused a whole bunch of damage. Now this is where the Wild Queen actually gets hindered, because one great thing about the Elementalist class, that third trait, is obviously the Stun, Freeze, Entangle and Burn on a 4 match, but we've got everybody in that state now, which is a good thing, but for a Wild Queen team it's also a bad thing, because now she's not going to do any attack stealing. I know 121 is still high, but if we hadn't got to cast her yet, that would actually be quite a low amount. So we are stuck on this amount now, but at the same time it is actually safe to cast her, because if she misses or we don't get a 4 match, then there's no way the opposition can retaliate. Well, they can retaliate, but while they're entangled, these skulls are not going to be doing any damage, and you can purposely leave the AI things like this, because most of the time the AI will take skull damage as a gem match when it is offered. So let's just cast Kalika just for the hell of it, and she alternated between them then, so didn't actually kill anybody, but they were near death anyway, so we can just hopefully finish these off now with either Wild Queen or Kalika. And Wild Queen missed, so we'll finish them off with Kalika. So that's a fairly good team, that works pretty well. Now I'll just show the more exotic Kalika team, and when this works, this actually works really well. So I'll just switch the team over. Nope, don't want that team, want a more proper team than that. That'll have to do. Right, now the weakest part of Kalika's spell, besides the fact that she always hands the turn back to the opposition, is the relatively low damage. Like compared to somebody like Queen Beatrix, who's a legendary and has a chance to get an extra turn and things like that, and it's like, it's not that great. But if we can boost that damage, then this can be significant, and there is a way to do that. The star gives 16 magic to a random ally with a 7% chance of an extra turn for each yellow gem on the board. So basically, if we get a lot of yellow on the board, there's a very good chance we'll get an extra turn and we can repeat this process. Now Alchemist transforms a selected mana colour to yellow. Don't care about the gold increase, it's the changing a mana colour to yellow which is the important part of his spell. And the Arboreal Crystal explodes 37 gems and grants a random status effect to all elemental allies, which could be enchant, it could be, you know, anything, could be a barrier, and it also has a summon as well, but that's mainly there because of the fact that it is a mana generator. But most of the time we're not going to need that. This is going to be about the Star and the Alchemist boosting Kalika. Now the idea is, with Star only needing 6 mana to get charged, we'll cast Alchemist, create a load of yellow which will boost Star up. The chances are that she'll be able to cast that and get an extra turn at the same time, because it doesn't take that many yellows on the board before it's a guaranteed extra turn. And there's pretty much a 50-50 chance that it's going to go on someone that we need. If Star boosts up her own magic, then that is really good, because when she eventually casts on Kalika, that is going to be as if she cast it on Kalika, because Star's own magic will be increased. If she casts on Kalika, then that damage will go up high and nice and fast at the same time. It's only wasted if Star decides to cast that on Alchemist or our hero there. So it's a fairly easy team to use, and I'll show it working because it's much easier to show it working than it is to explain it. We're in Stormcaller class for the only reason really that we have that Soul Storm third trait, conjure a Light Storm when my turn begins, because we're going to get a Light Storm every single turn then, which is yellow. We want as much yellow as we can here as possible. Right, so let's get on this. This is all about yellow. Want to get yellow as much as possible and cast Star continuously, and then we'll keep an eye on it and where she's given that magic, and hopefully with a little bit of luck she'll do it on Kalika a few times, and her damage can then get scaled and go out of control really quickly. So we'll concentrate on trying to get Alchemist to charge first, and we can do that. Right, now we can look for a 4 match. You don't always need a 4 match. We've got it here on red, but it's sometimes even better when you don't get a 4 match, because you can change enough to get, say, a 3 match, which will charge up Star, and then leave a load of yellow scattered around everywhere, which means, like there, for now, I've got a 91% chance of this being an extra turn. In that top right hand corner it says boost ratio times 7, the boost is plus 91. And there's a 7% chance of an extra turn for each yellow gem on the board. So 13 times 7 is 91. So it's 91% chance that we'll get an extra turn out of this. But the 16 magic to a random ally is 100% guaranteed. So we'll cast that, and I think that looks like it went on herself. Yeah, it did. You basically see a little glow and a magic symbol appear on whoever she put it on. So she put it on herself that time, which is fine, because now she gives 24 magic to a random ally. So if she puts that onto Kalika, that's going to be a nice boost. So we'll collect this because it's guaranteed an extra turn. Not much yellow there now though, so that's a bit annoying. We've only got a 56% chance, so it's just about 50-50 that we'll get a extra turn out of this, but it's still worth doing. And we did get an extra turn. Didn't quite see who she put that onto then. It must have been Alchemist. Oh no, she put it onto Arboreal Crystal because we now explode 61 green gems. That's no good putting it on that. We want it on Kalika, really. So now we'll explode all these green gems. Hopefully get enough to get star casting next turn. Nope, we've not got it enough yet, but we can definitely get it by casting Alchemist now. It actually made quite a lot of yellow disappear, which I didn't really want, but we can cast this. Still didn't put it on her. Come on, woman, put it on the right person. We can... I was going to take that one, but it's actually better to take this yellow here, because if we get a surge, then it'll be enough yellow, and we're guaranteed a 4 match anyway from these green, so it's definitely better to do that way round. 70% chance to get an extra turn out of this, and she still decided not to put it on Kalika, which is slightly annoying. She's put it onto Alchemist. It's all luck of the draw how this part of it goes. Like if you're lucky, she could have put it on Kalika 3 times in a row by now, and Kalika could have been on 100 plus damage by now. So we'll grab some of these, see if we get any lucky breaks. We'll cast this even though it's 63% chance, and that finally did go onto Kalika. Then I saw it go, so we're now on 65 damage for random allies, but it's still not enough. I want more than that. I'll explode all these gems because there's usually a high chance of some sort of extra turn. Didn't happen that time, but we have got a lot of yellow there now. Only 70% chance. It's not mega high, so I'll take this first, see if we get any more yellow drop down. It's now an 84% chance, so that's good, but apparently not enough. So we'll cast Alchemist, throw it on green. That created a lot of possibilities on skull matches as well. When it goes over 100, like the boost is now plus 112, it's guaranteed you can get an extra turn. She can cast this in total safety, and she did put it on Kalika again, so we're now on 113 damage to 4 random enemies. This game seems to be taking a long time, but in reality it's not, because I'm explaining it all slowly at the same time. 84% chance, so this should be good, and it went on Kalika again. This is the law of averages, averaging itself out, so we're now on 137 to 4 different enemies. This is actually going to be probably enough to win the game if it wasn't for that summon they had there, but we can still make a good of this. Let's cast the Arboreal Crystal, see if we get any luck out of that, and we did, because Alchemist is ready to go again. Put it on red, guaranteed an extra turn because there's tons of yellow there, and it did put it on her again. She's now on 161 damage to 4 random enemies, which is obviously a massive improvement on what Kalika started on. We can now obviously end the game whatever we like, but I'm just interested to see where this goes. And she's put it onto... not quite sure what she's done with that. Nothing much seemed to change. Anyway, no point dragging the video any longer. You can see how the team works. It works out pretty good. What should I go for one more charge? I want Kalika to get one more charge just because, but now I'm going to end it. So yeah, it can be viable. It depends upon luck to a large degree, how quickly Kalika gets the boost from the star. But it's possible, and it's an okay team. Once you get the hang of using it, it will be a lot faster than I was using it then, because I was taking time to look around and explain things in detail before I'd done it. But when you get into the flow of the game, that can be a pretty fast team when you get used to how the yellow works with Alchemist and Star herself. And it can be pretty devastating when she's charged up. I actually had her on, I think it was 247 in a different game earlier, which was like really, really good, and she actually just wiped out the entire team herself. It just so happened that Star boosted up Kalika about 3 or 4 times in a row after she'd boosted herself up a couple of times. It put all the boost onto Star herself or Kalika, and that was really, really cool. So there's the video. If you found it useful or helpful, it'd be cool if you considered liking and subscribing, because it really does help. But most of all, thanks for watching. See you again next time. Bye for now.